Welcome, sir.
The Director General, Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria, the Provost, College of Forestry, distinguished guests, very important movers of the college, principal officers, and most important, our students who are matriculating today. It gives me great pleasure to be here, to have the opportunity to talk to you, students coming in fresh. You are at the stage of being what the porter calls mud, in needed mud. So we can make anything out of you at this stage. And that is exactly why it gives me great, great pleasure to be here to talk to you in the first instance. The title of my talk is Empowering the Next Generation on Environmental Resilience. The next generation is you today. And we are very happy to have this interaction with you. Mr. DG, I'm very happy for making it possible that I use the mud to make beautiful pots in forestry and in the various other aspects of work that you will get into here in Jericho. You will understand that as a beginner, you have to be very ready to absorb a lot of things. And luckily for you, the federal government and the management of the school has extended the scope of this institution. You now have people who are doing statistics, who are doing horticulture, who are studying all other aspects. But the father of the studies is forestry, because you all have to key in to making forestry more sustainable. We are talking about sustainability these days so much. Everybody is saying it, because forestry started in Nigeria as a full-fledged environment, stable environment. We could take wood out, we could make anything we wanted to make, and the forest will heal itself. I hope you are listening to me. The forest will heal itself. The trees will flower, the seeds will fall down, and the seeds will germinate. And as they germinate, they compete. I'm sure you all know what etiology is, competing for light once the canopy is closed. They compete for light until they all take on their specific niches. Niches where they ecologically belong. The ground flora, the top canopy, the middle canopy, and the lower canopy. They are all made up and adapted to different intensities of light. They stay there, they grow, and they produce at their own rate. Let us look at sustainability. The UN will talk about sustainability from today to the end of the day. Over 2,000 books have been written on sustainable systems. They have looked at all aspects of sustainability, all the aspects that contains how the forest will become stable and productive. The most important aspect is that ecologically, the environment has to be balanced. The environment has to be stable, and the environment has to be good enough so that you will take something out of the environment, and that what you have taken out will be replaced by the environment itself without any problem. There's no stress. But in the past 50 years, forest resources have been taken out so fast and so unsustainably. I was part of the West African Hardwoods Improvement, and it was sponsored by the British government at that time. It was because Mr. Dominic Yamabo, the then director of FRIN, went to the British embassy and said, we need you to help us sustain this species, which go to Britain in thousands of cubic meters every day. The ships come and take away our logs. There are a lot of books written about the companies itself in Britain that took away all our logs. They did not just take them away, we allowed them to take them away. But the West African hardwoods worked on Obeche at this time, triplochitin scleroxylon, K-Shkum. The first thing that was done was to do a sort of assessment of what remains in the forest. Unfortunately today, apart from the 365 clones that project developed, Obeche in its natural form has been taken away. No more in the forests. What you find in the forest are saplings, and lucky for us, some samples within FRIN and FRIN Arboretum all around the country, and at IIT where I worked. My working in IIT gave me the opportunity to do conservation proper. We collected the genetics resources of trees, important trees. We stored them there. Also, we did in banks in Nagrab in Moore Plantation. We also did a lot of plantings in Ephraia, Ecom, Sakoba, and many other points in Nigeria. The farthest we went with Obeche in Nigeria was to plant something at Afaka, Nimbia, that area which has become the headquarters of bandits now. We can't go there anymore. But at least something was done. Today, you are students of forestry, students of the Federal College of Forestry. I challenge you. You have to do something. You have to study hard. You have to do a lot of learning of silviculture, a lot of learning of arboriculture, management of trees in situ, in the urban areas and in the forests. The statisticians amongst us have to do what we call modeling, predictive modeling that will enable us know how we are going. Are we finishing what is left? Are we planting more? Reforestation is the main activities of our forest officers now. And only recently, the scattered tree system has been introduced, wherein we are moving away from monocultural systems into multicultural systems, where, like we did in 98, 25 tree species differently were scattered in the forest, in the plantation, and leave them to struggle together to see how far they can walk on themselves, in between, with the powers that God has given them, the competence, the genetic traits. All of these have given us an initial result of it is possible. So now reforestation is what we should be doing with multiple species at the same time. Horticulture. Those students who are in horticulture will know that we have to talk to you and induce you to make sure that the trees that we have now, the remaining mother trees, are marketed and brought back. You know, a market will flower the same year and produce seed the same year, the following year. So there is a lot of work for you to do marketing of adult materials. Horticulture is not only flowering plants. It is also the management of genetic resources. You can see I've cleaned my face about 3 or 4 times. It is only because the temperature of the world has gone on more than 3 degrees centigrade. Why? Because we have taken away all the trees that give us a lot of oxygen and take the water from the ground. Without trees, there is no moisture recycling. The rain comes, the trees with their roots inside bring out the water and to form the seed for another batch of rainfall. So you can see that forestry is very, very important. And when we apply all these aspects that the NUC has gracefully allowed the Institute to put online for you, we are on the good line. You all know what geography is. You did it at school. At school, you were told there are vegetational types. And you know what these vegetational types are. High forest, mangrove forests, savanna forests. Within the savanna forest system, you have the derived savanna system. The derived savanna system was in Oyo State in Gambari Forest Reserve in 1960. So you can see that as we mine the forest, the ecologies change. And we are going to get into some major situation wherein we will be left with nothing. So we have to really buck up and know what we are doing so that those crops, those agricultural crops that we have that depend on the weather will survive. If we don't produce or ameliorate the environment, then we are in soup, in great soup, because an acre which used to produce maybe 5 tons of maize will now produce 1 ton. And you know we are eating our maize grain, but the dry maize is the most economic. Agronomy is part of the college now. It makes me very happy. Agroforestry is part of it. It makes me more happy. And when you consider all these contents of the environment, you will understand that it is a composite system that we have to run. We have to run this composite system, protect our environment, and if we don't have a good environment, the animals in them will be gone. Behind the Forestry Research Institute was an elephant trail. Even as far as 1965, the elephants still came through from Omo, passing through, and they were found here in Jericho on those hills. But today, you know, if you want to see an elephant, it's either you go to a zoo or you go to East Africa, or you lay ambush near Cameroon where they pass. They used to come through Omo, but our hunters have hunted many of them down. So we have to know what we are doing. We have to make our forest environment very, very good for animals, for wild animals. We are not made up to have our animals in zoos. No. Our environment must be very sustainable, must be protected, and we must have these animals also in the wild so that they can produce. Around your homes, you will know that you used to have a lot of rabbits, a lot of rats, and a lot of these small ruminants. These days also, they have gone down because those seeds that they come to pick under the tree to eat are no more there. So the ones that escape into your house have become a pest. And you will go to town and buy rat killers that will kill all of them and kill the rat, all those ones with the long tail. Who knows the name of that? The squirrels. Thank you. I have real good students here. Those squirrels, there are many of them, different types. And we have to know what we are doing so we can protect them. Now I will leave you with something. Sustainable systems. Everybody must contribute. Everybody. The horticulturists, the agronomists, the statisticians, the computer specialists. You are here. Building models, doing what you need to do, generating graphs, and letting the DG have this data will be very good for us. Will be very good for the country. Everybody will be happy, so we can have our environment brought back to the sustainable level.